you've been to some fireplaces. It's hard to carry on when you feel all alone. Now I've swung back down again. It's worse than it was before. If I had seen such riches, I could live with being poor. Oh, sit down, oh, sit down, oh, sit down. Sit down next to me. Sit down, 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 down. Sympathy.
So here we go, guys. We're going to talk about the second part of the glorious 30s of what Arsenal achieved in the 33-34 season. So the new season after Arsenal league champions didn't start great. It started with a draw at Highbury against Birmingham City, with the new David Jack scored for Arsenal on his debut. The first 8 games of the season saw Arsenal win 3, draw 3 and lose 2, notably a 3-1 loss away to Everton. So not the greatest start to the season for a team that had previously won Division 1. The 8th game of the season notably saw Arsenal thrash Middlesbrough 6-0 at Highbury, with David Jack scoring 2, Burkitt 2, along with Bowden and Cliff Baston. And this player that we've talked about before, Cliff Baston, went on to be an iconic player. Burkett and Bowden were both new players in midfield, and they became iconic in Herbert Chapman's WM system. So I'm going to recap this to just anybody's missed it before. This was Herbert Chapman's foundation form of play. The WM system was basically that he believed that these players here could overlap the midfield, and with a sweeper role here and these two spreading out to the wings or into the midfield, basically could overwhelm all the other teams' defences and midfield. And it proved itself. And this is still the fundamental way that football is played in this day and age. And it's quite an iconic way that he developed the game. He had first developed this at Huddersfield Town when he went back to back trophies of Division 1. And it was the fact that previous to this, I mentioned this in the previous stream, but I'll go over it again. These guys here, these 3 guys, were never basically in previous football to go beyond the halfway line. It was believed that, you know, they get this far and stop. Herbert Chapman's belief was that you overran and you supported your midfield, and you supported basically your forwards in midfield, and basically took and dragged off these guys, the defensive players of the other team. And this was the first real way of developing counter-active football, to the point that Arsenal became notorious in so hard to play against, and it was proven, as we will see throughout this period of time, in the 1930s. Arsenal became the most relentless team, highest scoring teams to actually play in the Division 1 at this point in time. So I may come back to this stream again, but that WM formation was a major problem for oppositions. These two new players, Burkitt and Bowden, were both very fast players back in that period of time, and they were relentless. They were very physical players. They were big guys and quick. So they basically had the opposition of big teams back then totally scared of what they could do. And what Chapman was doing was trying to prove that the midfield is the commanding base, and your wing backs and central defenders back you up. Wow, do we still see that to this day? Yes, we do. So, the midfield pressing forward at such pace caused a lot of anxiety to other teams. They'd never seen this before. Only Huddersfield Town had ever achieved this. And with Chapman going to Arsenal and bringing this philosophy in, it caused so much problems. And with the better quality of players that Arsenal had now brought in, it was seriously going to cause issues. And one player that made a massive difference in this Arsenal setup was a certain Eddie Hapgood, who Herbert Chapman had signed from Kettering Town for £1,000 in October 1927. Now, Eddie Hapgood became an Arsenal legend. He went on to make his left back position his own, playing in every game bar 2 games this season and cup games. He went out injured with a calf strain on his right leg twice, but he came back. This guy was as hard as nails, 6'2". I don't know the weight, but he was a big lump, this fella. He went on to play in all the 1930s trophy winning sides and consecutively won 5 league medals and 2 FA Cup medals. His strong presence and physique caused major problems for the opposing defences. There's been relations that I've relative statements I've read about that opposing defenders and strikers literally would bounce off him. He was that strong and quick. They would literally bounce off him. They could not get this guy down unless they basically put their, if you remember at the time, boots at the time were rough. They were nailed on studs, and there was no checking of studs back then. And it was a well-known fact that sometimes the leather studs would wear down and the nails would come through, and players would inadvertently make a tackle and the nails would go down the back of a player or the front of a player's shin and cause issues. So that was football back then. Nothing like we see today, especially on the pitches these guys were playing on. They're not playing on the magic turfs we see today. These in winter were mud baths. Seriously. And those pitches on their own could cause serious muscle injuries because of the fact of you're trawling around in basically a ploughed field. If you look at pictures back then of pitches, they were horrendous. And it was even still the same in the early 70s. You know, I mean, football pitches back then were still horrendous. But Hapgood, he went on to play for England. making 30 appearances and 13 wartime international caps. That went on in obviously into World War Two. He also captained England. Notably, he captained England in the Battle of Highbury game, a notorious game between England and Italy in 1934. Played at Highbury. He played that game despite having a broken nose. Another player of note this season was a certain Ted Drake, who we will come on to. He scored on his debut against Wolverhampton Wanderers at Highbury in a 3-2 win. Ted Drake went on to be a prolific scorer for Arsenal in the coming season. Now, a strange thing happened in this season. The FA decided that Arsenal should host a game against an Austria friendly. But the FA called it out there that it is basically a Vienna 11. It was basically the Austria international team. Now, we all know back in time, Europe was not maybe having the great, some of the plays that the English league did. But anyway, the game was played at Highbury, and it was warfare, basically. Players were going off injured, left, right, and centre, and the pitch was appalling. And it was, in fact, the international Austrian team playing. And this is the first time Arsenal wore shirt numbers on their backs. It was basically so the crowd could identify in the afternoon that they could actually see who the Arsenal players were. So Arsenal now wore shirt numbers and went on to, after this, forevermore. It's something that had been talked about, but Arsenal did it, and that's how it was. And Arsenal went on to win 4-2. And of course, this is the season when Arsenal lost their iconic manager, Herbert Chapman, to illness at a very young age of 55. Herbert Chapman, as we will go on to see, was somebody that stands out in football history for the fact of what he achieved, what he developed, and still is seen in modern day football. So Chapman had gone on a scouting trip to watch Arsenal's next opponents in the new year, notably Sheffield Wednesday, who were challenging Arsenal. Arsenal were top, Sheffield Wednesday was second. So just before Christmas 1933, Herbert Chapman, with his scouting team, went to watch them at Sheffield Wednesday and another ground. I can't actually find where they played, but they did. Unfortunately, Herbert Chapman returned with a very heavy cold and was told by the club doctor to rest up. But Herbert Chapman, being Herbert Chapman, decided he would go and watch the Arsenal third team play against Dover Town. Sadly, the morning of the 6th of January 1934, Herbert Chapman was found dead at home, having succumbed to pneumonia. The game was talked about of being cancelled, but it was deemed that the club, on his honour of what he'd achieved and the board directors at the time wanted to honour this absolute icon of the club. So the game went ahead with caretaker manager Joe Shaw taking control. The game against Wednesday ended in a 1-1 draw, with the crowd giving a standing ovation, both sets of fans giving a standing ovation to Herbert Chapman. And as the game and the fans quietened, Herbert Chapman was given the honour of having received the last post from a member of the military in the centre circle. That is the fact of how much this man was respected in football. He was a true legend of Arsenal, and he deserves to have his statue outside the Emirates. And the fact he had the bust of his head in the old East Stand at Highbury, in the old Marble Hall. Yeah, I mean, this guy was something else. Seriously, he modernised the way football plays today. So it is. Before we get to the next bit, we'll go through some comments. And yeah, the comments as usual are being a pain in the bleeding arse. But there we go. Craig F77, Jez, good evening, sir. I'm suffering from the flu. Oh no. Mate, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. It is coming around. It's that time of year, isn't it, my friend? Yeah, we don't want that. Shane Webb, hi, mate. Hope you're well. Hope you're well. Carl Rossi, Jesus. I've got Jesus and Jesus now. Well, that's two great names. Loving it. Carl Rossi, smash the likes, people. Yeah, smash the likes, guys. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Yeah, the old history stuff don't get a lot of views, but I enjoy doing it. Drew, the Great Northern Gunner. Good evening, Jez. Good up to you, my friend. Great to see you here. And Drew, the Great Northern Gunner. Big up, Carl. Carl Rossi. Yeah, top man, top fella. Delbert Gunner TV. What's the crack, Jez? And all in the chat. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. Watched the show yesterday. Warren hosted it. Big up, Warren. Great fellow, Warren. They Drew, the Great Northern there was made different stuff back in the day. My granddad told me about players breaking bones and still playing on for the rest of the match. Yeah, there was a classic case, wasn't there? The was it Man City goalkeeper broke his neck in a cup final, and he continued playing. I think I may be right in saying that. I'm not sure. What a legend Mr. Chapman was. Yeah, absolutely. Transformed modern football. Absolutely transformed modern football. This is in the 30s, and football teams are still playing this format to this day. So that, what does that say to you? This guy was like an absolute legend. Drew, the Northern Gunner. I played a cup final at Hillsborough back when I was in a whippersnapper. Well, fair play to you, my friend. Well done to you. Anthony Herbert, big up, Jez. Hope you're well. And you, Anthony. Need to get you on, man. We were going to have you on, and you unfortunately, you had problems, I think, with your internet or something. It's a couple thing. Hey, that's Luca. Luca, good to see you, my friend. Tanya, I'm sorry, mate, if I butchered your name. I apologise. Big up, Jez. Big up to you, mate. Thanks for watching. That keeps the marble halls. Oh, that was. Oh, he talked about the green. The red and white marbly shirt. Yeah. Well, that was seriously wrong because it was green and white. In the East Stand entrance, it was green and white. I can tell you that because I've been in there many times. Nippon, how are you, my friend? I haven't seen you for a while. Are you actually doing anything on your channel? Because I haven't seen you for a long, long time, my friend. Hope you're well. Hope you're doing very well. Joel Eaton, Pick up Jez, my best 5 Arsenal players of all time. Henry, Bergkamp, Wright, Vieira, Alexis Sanchez. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. I'll add one in there. I will take out from there Mr. Ian Wright, and I'll put in there Liam Brady. You obviously never had the chance to see that guy in the flesh. That guy was an absolute menace. What that guy could do in midfield, man. But yeah, I respect your view. Henri, Bergkamp, Wright, Vieira, Alexis Sanchez. Yeah, I'll go with you, but I will change one. Mr. Ian Wright, I'd put in there Liam Brady. I'm going to quick swig. We get back into it. So, unfortunately, Joe Shaw and Tom Whitaker were effectively looking after the football side of the club's matters. Basically, the club now are in a bit of an unfortunate position. Allison as the figurehead and Shaw and Whitaker in the charge on football on the pitch matters. So in the summer of 1934, Allison had purchased 2 players, Wilf Coppin and Jack Crayson. Now, who are these guys? Who are they? Who both became mainstays in the middle of the park. These guys were units. They were big guys, both over 6'1" and tough fellas. So March 1935, saw Arsenal play Sunderland at Highbury in a game that was the highest ever attended game at Highbury in history. No crowd was ever bigger. 73,297 people. That was the biggest crowd in history at a league football match until 1947, when Arsenal played Manchester City at Main Road. I mean, I can't remember. I can't even think how you'd have got 73,000 people into Highbury. Seriously, honestly, I mean, when you think back then how big the North Bank was and the Clock End and the East and West stands, I wouldn't want to be there. Seriously. The reason for that particular game was the fact Arsenal were in first, Sunderland were in second, both with vying for the league title, and Sunderland 1 point behind Arsenal. So it's said that over 27,000 Sunderland fans travelled from Sunderland to Highbury to watch that game. Not all got in, but a certain massive load did. Ted Drake, who goes on in time, we'll see, had been brought from his home club, Southampton, in March 1934 for £6,500. This was the highest purchase of any footballer in the FA history at this point in time. He was going on to become the Gunners' top scorer for each of the 5 seasons he appeared for the club. Despite missing a few games due to his robust style of player, when Arsenal retained the league trophy for the 3rd season on the bounce, equaling Huddersfield Town, which they did this season, his achievement in the 20s, Drake scored 42 goals in 41 games. And in the league, that still remains an Arsenal and league record. But I can see a certain Manchester City playing, Erling Haaland, busting that quite soon, to be fair. A year later, he scored all 7 goals in a 7-1 win against Aston Villa. Again, a league record currently. So nobody's ever achieved that since. Score all 7 goals. All 7 goals. I mean, that's madness. A. Noonan, I recently discovered that the founding father of Arsenal is buried in London Road Cemetery in Coventry. Yes, he is. That's where he came from, man. That is a true fact. Drew the Northern Gunner says before Seaton it wasn't half rough and tumble. Well, I'll honestly say to you, I wouldn't want to be in a crowd back in the old Highbury days of that big. I've been in a crowd there of 48,000 back in the days of terracing, and it wasn't comfortable. Yeah, I mean, I didn't say. I mean, it's like, you can't move, man. It's uncomfortable. You can't, especially in the summer. It's not a comfortable situation. Huddersfield, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United are the only teams to win league 3 times on the bounce. Yes, that is very true. Very, very true. So Arsenal basically win their third league title in a row and finish with 42 games, wins of 23. They drew 12, lost 7, goals for 115. Goals against 46 and points of 58. Sunderland end up in second with 54 points. The FA Cup again was disappointing, with Arsenal losing in the 6th round to Sheffield Wednesday, our nemesis in the FA Cup, it seems. Also, Arsenal went on to win the 3rd Charity Shield, beating Man City 4-0. Wouldn't that be nice to do that nowadays, beat Man City 4-0? The FA decided to present a shield to Arsenal for winning their 3rd consecutive league title. And that shield, I was lucky to see this, was proudly hung outside the Highbury boardroom for 70 years. Where it is now, I think it might be in the Arsenal Museum at the Emirates, or it might be outside the boardroom. I don't know. But you have to admit, this Arsenal team were absolutely relentless. They went on and on and on, and they just absolutely destroyed teams. Their belief was, and it was Herbert Chapman's motto that he gave to the team in 1927. If the opponent score 1, you score 2. Maybe Mikel Arteta should adopt that and say to his team, they score 1, you score 2. Maybe the Arsenal players don't research their history of Arsenal. It was once upon a time that it was brought in by Bertie Mee that any new transfer player Arsenal bought, they had to do a 30-point quiz of the Arsenal history. That's how it was back in time of Arsenal. Obviously, that doesn't happen anymore. It may be that the Hale End youngsters have to learn the history of Arsenal. I can't imagine Ben White sitting down and reading anything about Arsenal because he admits he doesn't watch football. He's not particularly interested in football. So why the fuck are you playing football? There's a lot of young people out there that would love to actually play football, but maybe don't have the correct talent, but maybe could be coached. I don't know. But that sort of attitude really pisses me off because you have a talent, but you actually don't believe in yourself. And I think that shows in some of your performances that if you actually believed in what you are, a talented footballer, you could be better. And I find that seriously shocking. I think that's, all the young guys around the world and girls, young ladies, young girls that want to have a professional career in football and you don't believe in what you say. Nah, sorry, mate. You ain't for me. You ain't for me. But it is what it is. Drew the Great Northern Gunner. Why does no one ever pick a legend for a goalkeeper? Mine is Jens Lehmann. Yeah, mate, I'll go with you on that one. I'll go with you on that one. He's invincible. Also, I'll give to you Bob Wilson, John Lukic, and I will give you David Seaman. All great goalkeepers for this club. I agree with you. They are absolute great people for this football club, and I would put all of them in the category of a legend. Will they ever get a statue? No. I think that's wrong. I do totally agree with you, and it should change. What wine are you having, Jess? I'm having. I'll try and show you. It's Christ, you can't see it because I've got the background on. It's hang on, let's get rid of this, man. I'll try and show you. Oh dear. It's Cote de Rhone 2019 from one of my favourite producers, Ernest Guigal. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. But there we go. I'm going to bail this soon. I've got to do some other bits and bobs. I've got to do my next, type it up. So we're getting to some of this. NS Sport Nippon. Yes, I'm streaming at 10 p.m. Good for you, mate. I haven't seen a lot of you lately. So yeah, we need to see more of you, my friend. Drew the Northern Gunner TV. Before seating, it wasn't half rough. Yeah, well, it was. Blimey, I've witnessed it. Seriously. A history test should be mandatory for every new player. Yeah, I would do it. I'll tell you what, mate. If I gave them a history test, they wouldn't have a bleeding clue. I swear. It's Jay May. Big up, Jez. Good to see you, my friend. We've got Warren in the house. Hi, Warren. Watched you on Dale Boys yesterday. You did a great job, my friend. Well done to you. And Warren, don't let them get you, man. It's not worth it. They're all muppets. Seriously. Jimmy Rimmer. Yes. God, do you remember Jimmy Rimmer? I do. Ex-Man U. First goalkeeper, Jimmy Rimmer. First goalkeeper to score a goal kick from a drop kick. 1969. First goalkeeper to score a goal from a drop kick for Man United. Awesome. Remember it. Unai Emery joined Aston Villa. Yeah, apparently so. Good luck to him. I think that's a massive mistake. Sorry, but yeah. Drew the Great Northern Gunner. I tried getting my daughter into football. She'd rather do martial arts. Good luck to her. Fair play to her. fair play. I used to do a little bit of karate. It wasn't great, but I used to enjoy it. Sorry, meant to say Jez, not Nez. Warren, you can call me what you like. Most people do. Don't care. You're a top fella. I don't care. And it is what it is. I remember John Lukic, though he got sent off to Leeds. Yeah, he did. I thought John Lukic, mate, he got treated a bit harsh, to be fair, after his great performance in the Graham era. Yeah. Barry says, great channel, Jez, tuning in from Sydney. Wow, mate, you up early, are you? What's got to be over there? 8. It's got to be 8 in the morning, isn't it? 7, 8 in the morning. 7, 8 o'clock. Fair play to you, my friend. Hope you have a great day. Anthony says, Jez, can't you tell the difference between players then and their positions from now? The days Cliff Bassman was an outside left player, but facts showed that what a player he was. Yeah, these guys were incredible players, man. And let's get right. I mean, they weren't as fit as the athlete players we have today, but their goal scoring ability was phenomenal. And yes, remember, they're playing with a football that in the depth of winter would go from £1 to £3 because it was made of pigskin. It wasn't sealed, so it absorbed the water and the mud from the pitch. You know, go back and look on YouTube and look at and do some clips of some of the clips of football at Highbury and those sort of places back in time, and you can see the pitches, and they were shocking. And you can see the balls are like literally expanding with this soaking up of water and mud and all that. They were tough times for those footballers, and you can see why. Probably now that, I mean, I remember as a little kid myself back in the 70s when I played football, and you had a leather football, pigskin football, and you have the laces on it. Christ, in winter, if you had headbutted that, yeah, it'd damn near knock you out. And if you got the laces there, you'd have those there for about 2 or 3 days. And you can imagine why the likes of people like great players from West Bromwich Albion, Jeff Astle, England player, and from 66, 1970, who unfortunately succumbed to Alzheimer's because they're continually midfield, continually heading those footballs. Yeah, and you heading a £3 weight in the depth of winter. Yeah, that is going to do some damage. Seriously, it's not like these modern plastic skin balls. They don't absorb water. They're £1 in weight, and they stay £1 in weight. So, you know, you have to say fair play to these guys. Seriously. Big up to them. Dancing Brave, good evening. Has just been confirmed to Villa. It's done. Yeah, saw. Well, I heard about it earlier, man. Warren's team talk. Derby's baseball ground was atrocious. Yeah, I remember going there once. The old baseball ground, man. I remember going there for a Arsenal Derby Arsenal FA Cup game, and we lost 2-1, I think it was. It's about 1977, 70, 60, 76, something like that. And it was the 4th round, and it was shocking. That pitch, well, honestly, you'd think somebody had put a plough across it. It was shocking. I don't remember seeing any grass on it, actually. A lot of sand and a lot of ruts, but it was appalling. But it is what it is. You know, football's changed. These things have moved on, and nowadays we play on the players playing carpets, undersoil heating, drainage. They play with their plastic boots and lightweight boots, and you know, it's a different world. It's a different game, and advancement in every part of the world has changed, isn't it? Drew, the Great Northern Gunner, those balls like heading a breeze block. Yeah, they were. And I remember as a little kid playing junior football, doing the same, and literally head one, he like literally knock you out. But it is what it is. Times change. But anyway, I'm going to bail out, guys. Thanks for watching. Smash the likes up. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I appreciate it. And I think on Wednesday night, I will be on early post on my channel, maybe with Lee Gunner, Kenny Ken, and Gracie May. But I'll confirm that and post it out there. Hope you enjoy the Arsenal history content. I know a lot of people don't watch. I enjoy it. I like talking about it. It's my thing. It's the history thing of Arsenal, and I think people should know about the history of what Arsenal have been to, come through, gone down again, come back, fought, come back again. It's what it's all about. And I just want to try and put it out there. Nobody else does. Even Arsenal Football Club don't. So it is what it is, and I try and promote it. So everybody, have a great evening. Much love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all very soon. And take care.